Hello, everyone. This hour on Verbling, the next in my Hot Topic series, we're going to be doing a two-part Hot Topic, Science Fiction Reality. I'm going to be opening the material and sharing it with you in just a second, but first, just a little introduction. In 1964, Isaac Asimov, the science fiction writer, wrote that in 50 years from now, we'd be living in a science fiction reality. Well, 50 years later, I'd like to get your opinion about whether that has come true. We'll talk a little bit about what science fiction is and how the world has changed from when you imagine it to be the future. So we'll be talking about those topics, and I've got lots of predictions about the future and some surprising things about the present that you'll be reading and watching in the next hour or in the second part as well. Okay, before we begin, a little bit about me. I'm John Eric, your Verbling teacher for this hour. I'm an American teacher from New York, hanging out in Lisbon, Portugal to bring you this class. By the way, here are 3 quick rules to help you participate. Don't forget to turn off, tune in, and open up. That means turn off your microphone when you're not speaking so we can keep the classroom nice and quiet. Tune into the new words that you're learning means use them as actively as you can so that I can correct you and give you feedback. And last but not least, open up to your classmates. Relax and have fun. We're all here to learn, and this is a safe and respectful place to practice your English. And that is a little bit about me. I want to know a little bit about you. So let me share my screen, and as I'm doing that, let me say hello to all of you. Let's move this over here, and I'll get the graphic on screen so you can see where we are. When you have the document open, you will see this graphic. So, Fan? It wasn't Fan, was it? It was Dell? I can't remember. Fan or Dell? Fan? Dell? What was your name? Hello? In the middle there? Okay, I don't hear you. He's not speaking. I think we said your name was Dell in the other class. Am I right? Well, Igor, our friend is not listening to us. Maybe he's away. How are you, Igor?
Hello, a long time no see. How are you?
I'm all right. How is 2015 for you?
Kind of okay.
Everything that you expected?
I didn't quite get the taste for it yet.
Well, it's just started. I can't believe that he left. Look at that. Maybe he has a connection problem.
Maybe he was disgusted by my comments. I hope he was not. Wasn't paying attention though.
Who's the kid, Igor?
Oh, that's my niece. Sorry.
Hello, niece. Oh, he's back. He's back.
Your name is fun if it's okay to share.
Igor, you did not scare him away. He's back, so it's okay.
Let's see.
Okay, let's say hello. So Daniel can only watch at the moment. Okay, no problem, Daniel. Let's say hello to Dell. Was it Dell or Fan? Remind me of your name. Oh my God. We can hear you breathing, but we can't hear you speaking.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
So it's Dell, wasn't it? You told me it was Dell?
Yeah, I'm Dell. Yeah, you also can call me Fan. Yeah.
I know, but you got to just pick one name for me.
Yeah, Dell. Yeah. Last time we talked about this.
Okay. So when I see Fan, I'm going to call you Dell. Got it. Okay.
Okay.
Just be a little careful because we hear you breathing, so you're very close to the microphone. Okay, Dell?
Okay. Yeah.
So just so you know, because it sounds like there's a typhoon. It sounds like.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay. So nice to have you back, Dell. Let's
Yes.
say hello to also Jocelyn as well. Hello, Jocelyn. How are you? Jocelyn?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello, Jocelyn? Can you hear me okay? Got to turn your microphone on, Jocelyn, because I heard a hello and then you disappeared. Okay, Jocelyn, we lost you. So, Jocelyn, when you get your microphone on, just say a quick hello and tell us where you're from. If I know where you're from, usually I remember you the next time. I need to pick a geographical location, and for some reason I tend to remember people. Hey, let's take a look at this picture. These are images of the future. Do you recognize any of this technology, Igor?
Well, I could see an astronaut, I think.
Seems what?
An astronaut, or what is it?
Astronaut?
Yeah, right in the top left corner. Or is
You
it
got
not?
You've got it. You've got something like an astronaut. You've got a
Well,
great.
I think it's a car, but it kind of looks strange.
It's a car, and I don't know what the guy's holding, but it looks like some kind of fuel cell, some futuristic fuel cell as well.
And here in the right bottom corner, I could see it's some kind of a computer, but it's kind of really old.
Exactly. So my intention here was to show you visions of the future from the past. So this is what the future looked like in about 1950. This is my science fiction reality. So what I want you to do, everyone, is take a look at some of the images and talk about how the future was supposed to look today from 50 years ago. Because earlier, in the beginning of the class, I was just mentioning this little write-up here. Del, can you read this for the class? This little
Yes.
description?
Yes. Overview. In 1964, Isaac wrote that
Isaac
Isaac-
Asimov.
Isaac Asimov
Right.
wrote that in 50 years, we'd be living in a science fiction reality. Among his prospects that we have arrived that are instant coffee, driverless car, and a robot to vacuum our homes. In today's hard topic, let's find out just how close we are to the science fiction reality in 2015.
So here we are, brand new year. Here we are. So let's take a look. I've got some different areas for you to talk about. I want you to pick one and talk about, if you can, talk about how the future was supposed to look and how it really looks. Okay? So let me just say a quick hello to Mulan, who's joining us now, and Jeff. I got the message, so you're Jeff, not Jocelyn. By the way, Jeff, where are you from?
I'm from Philippines.
From the Philippines. Okay, great.
Yes.
Are you there now in the Philippines?
Yes.
What time is it? It's got to be really early.
No, it's 5 p.m.
5 p.m. Oh, I've got the time
Yes.
zone totally backwards. I thought it was 5 in the morning. Okay, it's 5 at night. Nice to have you with us, Jeff.
Yes.
Jeff, take a look at those pictures. And what I want you to do, we're all going to do this, but pick one and talk about what the future was supposed to be like and what it really is. So in 1950, these are some areas that we imagine the future to be. If you want, you can pick one. And Mulan as well. You can start thinking Igor as well. So I want you to pick one of these areas, Jeff, and talk a little bit about it. Or I can give one to you. We got basically 4 topics, maybe. I would divide the picture up into 4 spaces. The top left, the top right, the bottom left, and the bottom right. It's pretty much divided into 4.
The bottom right.
The bottom right. Yeah. Okay. Talk about the bottom right. What do you think? What do you think is going on in the bottom right?
Uh, yeah, it's a large computer.
It is a large computer.
Yes,
So
but
is that
it's
is
a
that?
Asimov.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Isaac Asimov has said that the year this day and time they will have a very small computer just like the one in the picture, but uh, he didn't expect that it is smaller than what he thought.
Not he, but we. We're going to use
Oh,
we
we
here
okay.
because it's people in general. What we thought.
Yeah, yes, yes.
Yeah, I agree with that. Absolutely, I agree. So in other words, we probably couldn't have imagined. Look at that language too. I'm going to put it in the chat window for you to take a look at. We couldn't have imagined. If I want to talk about the past, Jeff, I can use could, would, should, and the present perfect. Have imagined. So if I put those three things together, I've got a great way to think about the past, but making a guess. We couldn't have imagined how small computers would become. And I agree with that completely because there was a great scientist who was also a very popular teacher, and you can see a lot of his lessons even on YouTube today, from the 1950s called, what's the most famous physicist from the 1950s? Does anyone know? Igor, I bet you know. Who's the great physicist from the 1950s?
1950s?
50s.
Uh, and, and
50s, 60s.
Edison,
Who?
but he was I
Edison?
don't know.
Edison wasn't even a physicist. You kidding me?
I don't know. Okay, difficult to answer.
It's not difficult. You know who I'm talking about. Del, who's Maxwell?
He's actually I studied physics, and he's someone who combined electricity and magnetism.
Magnetism.
Magnetism. Yeah, and that's why we have the cell phone. How cell phone work?
Oh, okay. And what period was he working in? What was the time period?
I forget. Yeah, but if I remember correctly, it's about 19th century, I think.
So the end of the 19th century, probably. Because we have Maxwell's constant. There's like I remember there's a variable that's always used. Maxwell's constant. I remember right. I think that's the one that I remember.
Maxman.
Sorry, it's a typo. Sorry. That's because I can't speak and type at the same time.
Okay.
It's supposed to be Maxwell. Sorry. There we go. The Maxwell constant. If I remember right, that's like one of those things you have to learn when you're studying physics. So I know the name. I don't know much about him. So he combined electricity and magnetism.
Yes.
And
proof.
Yeah.
And the proof that the light in our daily life it actually is a electromagnetism wave.
You gotta slow down a little bit. Magnetism. Magnetism.
Yeah, magnetism.
That's it.
It's really
good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So magnetism is like with magnets, attraction.
Well, it's really hard to explain. Yeah, it's
Okay,
kind of wave.
Of course, but the idea it's what controls magnets, how they are attracted or repulsed. The magnetic forces, in other words. So if you don't want to say magnetism, you could say magnetic force.
Magnetic, yeah. Magnetic force.
That's it.
Yes.
You know,
Magnetic force.
like Magneto in the X-Men. If you put on a funny helmet, you can be just like, who's the guy who played Magneto? What's his name? Help me out. Who saw the X-Men? What's his name? Famous actor.
I don't know, I hate that movie.
What's the actor's name though? It's oh, I'm blanking on his name. Go on, he's like the most famous actor alive. What's his name? Help me out. Help. Anyway, I forget. Magneto was not an ass, and don't use that kind of language. Magneto was a good guy deep down inside. Look, besides Maxwell, we have Richard Feynman. Who knows about Feynman?
I know. Yeah.
Ian McKellen. Thank you, Jeff. Ian McKellen, like the most famous actor alive, and I couldn't remember his name. Thank you, Jeff. What would we do without you, Jeff? Ian McKellen. Yes. Who knows about Feynman? Have you heard about Feynman? Anyone?
Yes.
Yeah?
I do.
Time to learn physics.
Yeah.
The reason I want to bring up Feynman is because look at that picture at the bottom right, the one that Jeff talked about. Feynman was absolutely instrumental in changing that human-sized computer down to a microchip. He was quite instrumental. Do you know what did Feynman do? It's not about physics, just so you know a little bit. In the 1950s, what did Feynman do? Does anyone know? Conduits? You can speak, Igor. You don't have to just write.
So he found these conduits that are right now are used in every modern electronic devices.
So by conduits, what do you mean exactly? You mean like the circuits, the circuitry?
It's like about electricity current. It's like if you apply specific electricity current to this conduit, then it will open and will be able to carry electricity. But if you apply another electricity current, an opposite will close. So, so this is the idea about 0 and 1.
Okay, got it.
Like when it's closed, it's 0. When it's open, it's 1. And that's how, it was. People right now are able to create computers to make them work. And also they're really small, You can just punch them in really small space and make it really small. But still have a lot of them there and have a lot of calculations.
Okay, I agree about one thing for sure. It was about that time period that we started to figure that out. I mean, what I mean is that idea had been around for a long time, right? In the time of Edison and Tesla, to the turn of the century. But it was in the 1950s that we shrunk it down, and that those computers that were no more powerful than a calculator, that used to take up an entire room, suddenly, with solid state and transistors and all of those things that were coming into being in that period after the World War II, suddenly they were starting to get smaller and smaller. So I agree with you about that. But I don't know if Feynman was involved in the actual circuits or conduits. I don't know if he might have been. I don't know. But the reason I mention him is because he's the guy that did QED. He and a team of people were working on quantum electro. What's the D stand for? Quantum electrodynamics, is it? So he was the guy working on. Is that right? Okay. So, long story short, he wrote a paper in the 1950s, which you can look up online. You can read it. It's called. I think it's called "There's Plenty of Room at the Bottom." Something like this. It was a scientific paper, but it was meant to capture the imagination of everyday people and young scientists. And he tried to show, by studying quantum physics, being one of the pioneers, if not the pioneer, okay, not the, one of the pioneers, Remember, the guy won the Nobel Prize when he was like a kid, so he was, quite a pioneer. By studying quantum physics, the physics of what happens inside of an atom at the smallest level, at the nucleus of the atom, he could see that there was a vast spaces available inside of the smallest particle of matter that we have. So we didn't need to be thinking on this giant macro scale like the one that we're all familiar with. So he wrote this paper called There's Plenty of Room at the Bottom to get people thinking about how much space was available to them at the smallest level and how we could use that to move computing forward and other things, but specifically computing. So I agree with what you were saying, Jeff. We couldn't have imagined that that computer would be the size of the palm of our hand. And maybe, what do you think is going to happen next with computers? Since we're looking at that one, and we know that computers are now tablets and even phones, what do you think is going to happen next, class?
I think the future is now open more to the augmented computers devices that will be injected under the skin and available everywhere for everyone for a personal usage. Whenever you go, whenever you went, even when you are taking a shower. Yeah, I think that's it. It
So
should be the future.
So what's going to happen? What do you mean when you say augmented, right? What is being augmented? You mean biology is being augmented?
No, I mean like they would use like a small chip that can be put under the skin, and more than that, they can. I don't think it will be used under the skin. It will be used more into the head. It might be used in the head. I think it might, as a start, be used under the skin, but then it will develop and they will use it as an augmented part of the human being. It can be like used in the head or implanted in the head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it can feedback visions or.
But Molan, don't you know the government has already put chips in our heads and is controlling our thoughts? Don't you know that?
Yeah, of course. It's all over the news.
That's why I'm working at Verbling, because they've made me do it. They're controlling me. So that's interesting, kind of augmented technology. There's a theory, which I've talked about in this class before, called the singularity. Has anyone heard that? The singularity. There it is.
The Big Bang, like the Big Bang just happened.
No, not that singularity. The other singularity. That's the physics singularity. I'm talking about the human technology singularity. Do you know about that one, Igor?
So it's like synthesis.
Exactly. Synthesis. So,
it's
what
like
do you think is going to happen in the singularity?
Well, we are all going to be walking cyborgs.
Exactly. We're all going to be walking cyborgs. Exactly. So the singularity is a theory by, I think it's Ray Kurzweil, who I seem to talk about a lot in these classes, because he's fun to talk about. He's a futurist, and he was recently hired by Google. So instead of being a theorist, he was put in charge of Google's future department, whatever it's called. And his idea is to predict the future, and he's been quite good at it so far. Using Moore's law and other things, he's been quite good at talking about how technology is increasing and what's going to happen next. And specifically, the singularity is one of the things he talks about, where technology will be biology. There will be no distinction between the two anymore. And he has a date for this. I don't remember the date, but he's actually got a date for this. By the way, if you've ever looked at some of the images that now that we can do with advanced microscopes. That's kind of the picture I was going to talk about on the bottom left. Studying biology. If you look at some of the pictures of what goes on in a cell, but really these like new, it's not even electron microscopes, it's whatever the new microscopes are. I've seen pictures of, I think it's like RNA and these kind of things that mitochondria, these things inside of a cell. Some of it, I mean, they look like robots. It's unbelievable that this is a natural process. It's really quite amazing. It's I think it's RNA, if I remember right. I'll see if I can get a picture and show you. It's unbelievable to think that this is something in all of your cells, not something that it looks like a machine. It's incredible. These little.
Would you like, become one with the machine?
Yeah.
I don't know. Kind of creepy, maybe some kind of functions like supplementing, your, I don't know, your hearing, your eyes, or your, I don't know,
I like that.
your legs or arms, but supplementing brain with computing is kind of really.
I
really
can't
scary.
wait. I want to do that today. I want to supplement my brain with a computer. Igor, what do you think is going to be? What do you think could be the benefit of that? What's the dream?
Well, I think if you can become one with the machine, you can achieve immortality.
There you go. Wow. That is one idea, actually. I think we're even going to read about that idea. There was a Star Trek idea that you could. There's been a lot of movies like this too, where you could basically copy or upload. We're getting a lot of. Igor, make sure you're wearing a headset. We're getting a lot of echo from your side. Yeah. Or just put on a headset because I'm hearing the speakers. Where you could upload your life experience, your memories, your consciousness into a computer. So if you've got a device like implanted in the Singularity, it could be recording that and transmitting it. Weird, creepy.
Well, just imagine it like you upload your personality into a machine, and then your body is meaningless to you. You become an extracorporeal being. So
Yeah.
you may download it to a car. You may download into a tank.
Yeah. I want to download into a Volkswagen. That's what I want. Let's see if we can include some quiet people out there, like Shadow. You're awfully quiet today, Shadow. Are you there? Oh, Shadow's asleep. Oh, she's there.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were
Yes.
sleeping.
No.
Hey, look at these pictures. We're going to start. I'm going to show you some real technology in just a moment. But look at these pictures, Shadow. Look on the top two pictures there. You've got a car on the right, and you've got what's on the left. Can you see that?
Where is the car on the right?
There's a kind of a car, a vehicle anyway, on the
Oh.
right side.
Okay.
And what do you have there on the left? What do you think that is? So these are visions of the future from 1950. This is kind of a retro future.
It looks like Captain America.
You've got, okay, that's another vision of the future, that America rules the world. So you're right about that, Captain America. And what does Captain America have up there? What are the futuristic things that we imagined? How would you describe those things?
Is it a UFO?
Is it a UFO?
I don't know.
Looks like a helmet to me because I see some eyes inside.
Don't know.
And what else?
Is it that weapon up?
Okay, you got a weapon. Do you know what we call that thing?
No.
The one on the top is. Oh, the one on the top is a phaser. It's a little hard to see. You've got to open the document to see it better. But you've got a phaser.
Phaser.
A phaser, which is some kind of ray gun. Below that, you've got a laser. So you've got a phaser and a laser. A phaser, I don't even know the difference. A laser is real, of course. We have lasers. Lasers shoot electrons or whatever, concentrated particle beams. Phasers, I don't know what the concept was. Maybe it's plasma, I'm not sure. And then next to it, you've got some kind of a communicator. Look at that weird communicator. Ooh, futuristic. So that was our vision of the future. Do you think that what do you think about reality today? How close are we or far from that vision?
Yeah, we're close to the haircut. I mean, the man. It's the same now.
The haircut?
Yeah, but not that.
Some people, if you're in a boys band, you have that haircut. Sure. I don't have that haircut.
But the laser and phaser, I don't know what the difference between is it the both of is it a weapon?
They're both weapons, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so the laser shoots some kind of particle beam, a concentrated light that can be very destructive and go over a very long distance. And so all of those, Star Wars, Star Trek kind of movies, people are not shooting bullets, they're shooting lasers.
Yes.
We use lasers today, don't we? What do we use lasers for?
To cut things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we use it
in surgery.
Yeah, absolutely. Laser surgery, like for your eyes, you have to do very precise surgery. Sure, absolutely. So, do you think that the phaser, laser, and communicator reality, do you think of the future? Do you think we've reached it?
We reached the communicate. I mean, wireless communicate. But not these weapons. I don't know.
Not as weapons. That's what you think.
I don't know really.
We're going to find out. Let's see. And Daniel, can you talk now, or are you still muted?
I'm here now.
You're back?
I can talk. Yeah.
Daniel, take a look at the image on the right side. You've got that vehicle. What do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think the vision of the future was for transportation, based on that picture and based on your ideas?
Maybe a vehicle.
Vehicle.
With vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
We can't fly, and his fuel. It's a kind of bacteria or vegetal.
Hey, that's a good idea. So 2 criteria. It can fly and it runs on bacteria.
Yeah. in a kind of can. Or a can
in a can.
In a glass can or something.
Well, if it's glass, it's a jar. If it's metal, it's a can.
Oh, metal.
Yeah. Or in general, you can say, here's a good word too, canister. Canister. That's a more general way to talk about that that shape. You can see it in the chat window, in a canister. So how close are we to that reality, do you think, Daniel? My car doesn't fly.
More and more we have a electrical vehicle.
That's true, yeah.
Or with energy, no fossil energy, no fossil.
Fossil fuel. Not fossil fuel.
No fossil fuel. But our cars cannot fly at the moment.
Your car can't fly. Mine can.
My car.
Yeah. Didn't you know in Portugal all the cars fly?
What?
Yeah. Oh, you people in Salamanca, you're like way behind the times. We're already flying over here. Especially during the holidays. Everyone has a couple of whiskeys and they're flying all over the place. All right. So I wanted you to look at those pictures to get an idea about what the future was supposed to be like and decide how close we were. So we've got some good ideas. Cars were supposed to fly. Oh, one more thing, Daniel. What about this bacteria thing? What was that about? Bacteria as fuel is an interesting idea.
Yeah, with I think with corn we can make diesel, but I don't know the process. If with bacteria or I don't know the
Well,
process.
biodiesel was something that was heavily criticized. Fidel Castro wrote a very famous essay about it after he left his position, about how biodiesel was an attempt at imperialism, because the crops were needed for food, and instead they're being used for fuel, which was not efficient, and it was, it's one of those. And actually, in the West, although I guess it's still being done, you certainly don't hear a lot about it. But it was a big thing, kind of like in the late 90s, early 2000s. You don't hear so much about it. At least maybe it's just me. You don't hear enthusiasm about it.
We have in Salamanca a big factory making biodiesel. A really big factory.
Yeah, but the problem is that you use the landscape to grow the crops, which takes a lot of space, and the energy that you get out of it doesn't really equal the amount of, the output doesn't equal the input. That's the problem.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's great.
I can't believe that you're doing that in Spain. That blows my mind. Really, I can't believe it. There's so many other free energies that need to be developed, like solar and wind. Why work on bio? To me, that's very strange. But what do I know? If they could make it efficient, yeah, it'd be great. But that's the problem. It seems like it loses more energy than it gains. Well, listen, everyone. That was kind of the warm-up. So we're going to go down here. Let me go past all this. That was actually the warm-up we just did. And what I want you to do is I want you to look at some predictions about the future. Okay? So what I've done is just taken a page from the Futurist Society. Remember that Ray Kurzweil guy? So what we have here are different predictions from recent time periods, recent times, so 2014, 2013. We're going to look at some of these predictions and decide how close we are, and we'll talk about them. In the next class, in the next hour, if we have time, we'll do it in this hour, but I don't think we will. But in the next hour, I've got some things that are happening right now that I want you to read and summarize. Actual technologies that are interesting. So I've got a list there. You're going to go out, do a little bit of research really quick on some of these. I've got a link for you to follow. And then at the very end, we're going to play a little game together called Pitching the Future, where you're going to, being inspired by some of those real technologies going on, you're going to create a technological solution of your own. I just realized I spelled all the words wrong in my... There we go. I'll fix the spelling. So let's go to the Future Society here. Okay? Well, these are all quite short. Jeff, I don't know what happened to you, but come back. We're just beginning, Jeff. So, Del, we'll all take one of these. Why don't you take the first?
Start reading.
Yeah, let's read these out loud. They're really short.
Okay. Computer that intuit the meanings of words and sentences.
Like the pronunciation here is intuit. Intuit.
Okay.
Intuit. 3 syllables. Intuit.
Intuit.
Good.
Computers that intuit the meanings of the words and the sentences like human can maybe among us in a few decades. A new supercomputer at the University of Texas Austin recently used a word meaning model. Logic logism,
Algorithms.
logical algorithm, and grammar and syntax analysis to accurately predict the meaning of the sentences 85% of the time. National security agents of many countries would look forward to using such computers to gather more intelligence from more sources in less time. But these artificial intelligence spying machines also pose many dangers to individuals' privacy and security.
What kind of dangers do you think they're talking about here? So does that make sense, Del, what you're reading?
Yes, I think it's kind of the website you have been by some terrorist program and being stolen by the
hacker.
Hacker, yeah, I don't know. I'm sure. I have no idea about computer. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's think about this. This is a trend. This was a prediction from the end of 2013. Computers will be able to perfectly understand our words and use them against us. We have to speculate what they mean by use them against us. How close, class, do you think we are to this? Computers perfectly understanding our words. How close?
I don't think we're really close to this. I think to really understand what the people say, a computer needs to become some kind of an AI, I think. Because even humans don't really hear everything people say. Sometimes we may mishear anything or something.
Well, the only thing that comes to my mind is that new Skype application where you can instantly translate, supposedly from any language. I don't know if it is, but you can instantly translate through Skype, and not all the users have access to it, but certain users do. So that's the closest thing I can think of to this kind of language processing.
Well, there are things like Siri for Apple devices, voice recognition for maybe consoles. But they work really great when it's like individual commands. They really know them and they can understand it. But if you go, really comprehensive speech like a long speech, they tend to get increasingly bad.
Mm-hmm.
The longer the sentence, the more words are included, the more mistake the computer will make.
But what about Watson, the computer that won Jeopardy? All those questions were real questions. The syntax was a little simple. What is, and then the question. But Watson was basically just plugged into the internet and won the game show because it was able to understand the question and able to accurately get the information faster than humans, right? So on some level, it seemed to be able to process natural language. I don't think that anyone was doing anything special to get the computer to understand the questions. I think it was they might have been typing what the guy was saying. I don't know if it was able to understand spoken speech. I'm not really sure. Or maybe it was. I'm not sure.
I don't know about spoken speech. I don't think that spoken speech can be understood by computers in any time. Not until we have something that is really close to an AI. But if it's if you just type words into a computer, it's pretty easy to make the computer understand and find relative information from a question that was just typed. And it's a pretty easy algorithm. Of course, it's really complex, but I can see logic logic there. What kind of algorithm you would need to code to make a computer make relevant searches in the internet, just using kind of question. And I think a lot of it depends on what kind of question. Like if you're just ask computer a question that is has a real yes or no answer, you know, or maybe actually something tangible, then it's really easy for a computer to find relative information on that. But if you're going to talk philosophy to a computer, I don't think it's going to happen in any close time.
So it sounds like we're pretty far off from this prediction, at least. Spoken language is not really going to be a reality.
I think it will happen, but it's not really really close to this.
Let's go through a few of these, and then at the end we can kind of talk about them together as well. So Igor, take the next one for us. We'll go around the room. We'll all read one.
Okay, soldiers will gird up in iron suits, so will elderly civilians. Even the best trained soldiers.
So keep in mind, this is two groups of people who are going to use this technology. Okay, go ahead.
Even the best trained soldiers tire out when carrying heavy loads over long distances. In the future, robotic exoskeletons fitted over their bodies would give them a boost, allowing wearers to use their remote control to move their arms, legs, and torsos with mechanical amplification in every motion. Some designers envision senior citizens in civilian life using exoskeletons to stay mobile even if their bodies lose strength and vitality.
Okay, and that was from a year ago. So, can you picture your grandma with a giant robot exoskeleton around her?
Well, I think it wouldn't be, this clunky when it's of the development.
Did you ever see, what was that movie with Matt Damon? It was directed by the guy who did Zone 9, District 9. The guy who the South African guy who directed District 9.
Was it? I don't know.
Elysium, I think it was called. Anyone see that?
I know the title, but I've never seen it.
By the way, is everyone else in the class? Because I just hear Igor. What about the rest of you? Are you out there?
Yeah, I'm still there.
Okay. I was getting worried.
Yeah, I saw it. It was boring.
Oh, you saw it. It was boring. Okay, maybe it was boring. What was the special thing that Matt Damon's character had?
The special effects. There's nothing special. Just he was persistent and he was stubborn.
But what was he wearing? Remember the thing that they gave him?
A pill. As far as I can remember.
A pill? No. He had surgery, and he came out of the surgery with this thing that Igor just read, this exoskeleton. Remember that? And then he used that to get onto the place where the elites were living in orbit around the Earth, because he had this kind of superhuman strength from the exoskeleton. So, do you remember that? He's got this like thing around his body that. Ooh, that's loud. What's happening?
It's the door squeak.
Oh, it's very loud. Squeaking. So do you remember in the movie he's got this exoskeleton around his body and it's like plugged directly into his brain or his spinal cord or something like that?
Yeah, I remember that they like gave him something, or he was there was a mark in his body. I can't remember exactly, but after he thought the whole time that he was just being fooled. But then at the end, you will know that there's a mark on his skin or something like that, and you know it was all truth. He wasn't been fooled. I can't actually remember the details because I thought it was pretty boring. And the only things that was interesting is the ending, with the twist in the ending in the end. So I think you can remember. You might remember it more than me.
I saw it a while ago. I remember it. Look, here's the picture. You can see the exoskeleton on his arms and around his chest. There it is. There's your exoskeleton. And this, don't ask me, it's science fiction because that thing is so light, there's no way that it could really work. But it's supposed to give him this kind of superhuman strength. So he goes through this kind of illegal surgery and then uses his superhuman strength to break into this, I think it's a space station, where all of the elites of the planet are living. And then here's a picture of the space station here. You can see that it looks like the Earth, but it's actually a big wheel, and it stretches up in the distance. So that's the exoskeleton, just so you can see a picture of it. You can see another picture here around his body. So there's a picture. Good old Matt Damon and his exoskeleton.
Well, it doesn't look like this exoskeleton will protect him from bullets, you know.
It's not going to, what? Protect you from?
Bullets.
Villains.
Bullets.
Bullets. Oh, right.
Right.
Protect you from bullets is supposed to augment your strength, to give you something extra. Guess what? This one is real. I mean, you can see this on YouTube. I don't know how advanced it is yet, but it's real. There's definitely, the only difference is that it's not something that connects to your body internally. It really is a suit that you have to get inside of. But it is actually used to lift heavy things. The problem is it's very hard to balance in these things. So if you fall over, it's going to be a little hard. Could be hard to get up. I don't know. Let's see. We have maybe time to read one or two more, and then in the next hour we're going to read about the reality of these things and start to talk about them. Oh, what's that, Daniel? Let's see what that is. I saw a picture, then now it's gone.
A kind of skeleton alien.
There you go.
The first time I saw.
That's a little Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah.
This was pretty funny.
Adoli.
And then he just recycled the idea for Avatar. He just took the exact same machine and used it in the other movie. It's like a forklift. Those things that lift heavy boxes in a warehouse or something like that. Well, Daniel, why don't you read the next one? Maybe we've got time to do one more. This one's interesting.
Computer chips will shrink to the size of dust and become just as ubiquitous. Ubiquitous. A fully operational wireless communications computer chip no bigger than a grain of sand has been built by University of Michigan engineers. Computer chips this small will eventually become cheap to manufacture. Once they do, we could see them everywhere, in household appliances, food products.
Appliances? With an I?
Household appliances, food products, bridges and buildings, and even rivers and streams. And the chips will connect all of these objects to the internet. We will operate with more real-time data about ecosystems and human-made structures than ever before, while household items will maintain themselves largely on their own.
There you go. So these are predictions, but they're based on actual technology being developed in an experimental way. So this is from the end of 2013, based on an actual project at the University of Michigan. And I think this is not such a crazy idea about seeing it become reality, because you can picture this, chips in just about everything transmitting data. Computer chips the size of dust. So, Daniel, what do you think the best outcome of this could be if it's something that really happens? Let's say it's happening in 2015. What do you think the best outcome could be? What could we do with this?
Everything will be all the time.
Everything will be what?
Monitoring.
Monitored. Everything will be monitored. Okay.
Monitor. Yes. You can know all time what quantity of food in your fridge.
Or in your stomach.
How in your stomach, yeah. The temperature of your house. I don't know. Everything.
Yeah, another thing that comes to mind is stuff as if it's this small that it could be in your actual bloodstream. For example, diabetics have to measure their insulin levels or their sugar levels, and it's very hard to get an accurate reading, because if you take a sample from your finger, you don't have a lot of blood sugar in those extremities, so it's not a very accurate measurement. So diabetics have to carry around a device that basically has almost like a catheter that goes directly into your bloodstream, deeply into your bloodstream, but it's very intrusive. You're wearing something that has a hook like inside of your vein. So, you know, if you fall, or if it gets caught on something, it's going to literally, make a hole in the side of you. You're going to be bleeding. It's really something very intrusive. What if you had a wireless device the size of a grain of sand that was attached to a blood vessel and could monitor your blood sugar? You wouldn't need a pancreas anymore, right? Basically wouldn't need it. Who needs a pancreas?
What about if these tiny robots could just heal you,
That's another idea. You got your nanotechnology. Well, listen, let's talk more about that in just a minute. I have to start the next hour. So what we're going to do is read one or two more of these, and then we're going to go on to some actual examples of crazy science fiction that's happening right now. I'll give one to you. You'll give us a little report. We're just going to summarize what's out there. We can look at some videos and things as well. And then we're going to try to create a technology of our own at the end of the class. You'll see what I mean. So stick around. I'll be back in 30 seconds to start the next hour. Okay? Bye for now, everyone. Be back in just a minute. How do I turn this off? There we go.
See you in the next class.
Huh? How do I turn this off? Okay. Bye for now.